am Exie.
And I am Lini.
Together, we bring you African Teapot Podcast. Journey with us through Africa's vast variety of culture and heritage to discuss how this affects families both home and abroad.
Make sure to subscribe, like, and share this podcast.
Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode on African Teapot. Sorry that this episode is airing late, but today I have special people with me. Of course, Lini is here, but we have one more guest.
It's Lyris, and I'm back
from the Missing Goat Christmas episode.
Yeah, I was pretty famous for a bit. I just had to take a chill pill.
And the three of us were actually recuperating from a cold. So we had a sisterly cold.
I know.
So that's why we couldn't release the podcast, because we had issues recording it because we sounded actually terrible.
Like toads with a cold.
We actually sounded terrible. So yes, here we are, and hopefully you guys had a wonderful Memorial. I think that's what passed.
Yeah, Memorial Day. Mm-hmm.
And last month, Mental Health Awareness Month, right?
And we hope you're doing okay. I'm talking less because I'm still kind of sound croaky.
Yeah, Lini is still pretty worse than the rest of us.
Jeez, thank you.
No, I mean bad, a little bit.
Thanks, that sounds a whole lot better.
Okay, now getting into our topic for today. Our topic is titled Potency. As you saw, that was the handwork of Lini, actually, choosing that title. Great work, great job. Clap for yourself.
Right.
Clap
I did
for
something
yourself.
right, guys. Hoo-hoo!
Yeah. So, Lyris knows what it is. Don't mind, she's quiet. She has a lot to say. She's packed with information.
They just decided to kind of keep me in the dark to get my honest opinion and reviews in the matter. So hopefully I censor myself properly.
Yeah. So you're a test to see how your reaction is. We got people's reactions on Instagram, but let's see how yours is live. No, well, we'll see it, but the others are hearing.
Yeah.
Anyways, so if you were following us on Instagram, you would realize for the past 3 weeks or so, there's been a conversation going on about potency and virginity for women. And actually, this is a case study. We stumbled on this topic. Lini did, actually. Were you the one, or was it me? Someone, I think I was the one who stumbled onto the topic. Yes, stumbled into the topic, and we thought it was interesting enough to have it on the podcast. So today we'll be talking about hopefully I'm saying this right, the Banyankole people of Uganda.
We apologize if we're saying it wrong.
Sorry.
And again, to note, it's not like the practice is not like super. Don't meet everyone from Uganda and be like, oh, you potency test.
Oh yeah, because we actually spoke to someone from Uganda. She was like, yes, it is. It's almost like it's the history.
Yeah.
It's not like currently how they're doing it.
Yeah.
But that was the history. It's just that it was interesting enough that we wanted to talk about it, because it brought up a spicy conversation.
So please don't be the person who meets everyone from Africa and be like,
Or Uganda.
Lion, giraffe. Please don't be that person.
Okay, now getting into it. Uganda has a population of 45.7 million people. And Uganda is in East Africa, by the way, guys. And the Banyankole people make 9.5% out of this total population. And Uganda has two official languages, English and Swahili. And the Banyankole people are actually in the southwestern region of Uganda.
I feel like if I could speak Swahili, dang,
That would be smooth.
so good. And Lyris is giving us a death stare. She's like,
Because she's waiting to hear what we want to say. Because she's like, she's like,
I just feel like we need to get into the juice of the topic and just.
okay, no, we
This
are
is the
introducing.
juice.
Wanted to.
I know, but I'm just ready.
Okay. So we have actually there's one other. I think, Captain, you asked a question to somebody earlier, right?
yeah.
And he gave his honest opinion about what it is. So we're going to play
Insert
that.
it.
We're going to play that.
I don't know about my aunt checking if to see if my husband is potent, but to me that's just ridiculous to me. I understand it's the olden days, but that's just too antiquated, and to me, that's cheating. Okay, fine, he sleeps with the guy, and then what? What if he can't give me children, and I like the guy? I'm okay with him if, I can still sleep with him, and then we can figure out ways. If, let's say, he's not potent enough to give me children, we can adopt kids. What the hell? Like, that's, to me, that is a big no, no, no.
Do you think there's a male potency test?
A male potency test, as in to test potency of
Men?
like
You're potent.
if you can bear kids.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you can ask us, yeah.
Yeah, this is.
How do you think the test is? Like, if I ask you, what do you think the typical test is?
I've never done it before, so I cannot speak on it. But I think you go in there, they probably either weigh your balls or they make you, inside a cup, and then they test. But I'm pretty sure my guys can swim. We can swim very well.
So if I told you you had to have sex with my aunt, my mom, or something to prove that you're potent, what would you say?
Have sex with your what?
Like your aunt, mom, cousin, or family member to prove you're potent.
No, I'll pass because I want to only have sex with you, so I'm not have sex with anybody else.
But let's get into what this potency test is all about. What is the potency culture all about? Lini, do you want to tell Lyris what it's all about and our listeners, since Lyris is like our listeners today?
Okay, so pretty much I got most of this off of the marevipost.com. It's like I've found it on Google, so disclaimer, that's where I got this information.
We are Google.com.
I don't know everything. Okay, so pretty much the culture is most of it depends on the aunt. So it's like the primary responsibility of the aunt was to confirm the groom is potent and that the bride has defended her virginity before the marriage is consummated. So before the...
Okay, so sorry. Why is it the aunt's responsibility?
We're going to get to that in a minute.
Okay.
I
wish I had a paper to write on my question.
But so the aunt is pretty much supposed to be like, hey, the groom...
And this is the aunt to the... Yeah. So this is the girl.
The girl's aunt.
The bride to be's auntie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's the one who has to test the potency of her niece's husband to be.
Okay.
If he's going to pass the test or not. And she is also tasked to checking her niece's virginity.
Okay.
If she's still a virgin.
Okay. So sometimes to prove this potency, the aunt was required to have sex with the groom to defend his potency and virility.
So let me understand. My husband just sleeps with my family members?
Well, still your husband to be mad at.
It's not
So
your
if
husband.
the aunt was that good, then you wouldn't get married?
No, it is.
No, I get it. I'm just, but I want you to go through it and then
Yeah, and then she also has to test if the bride is a virgin. This article didn't per se say how they
and
check.
this is just a regular person with no medical license to check if I'm a virgin.
Lyris.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, no, I'm just making sure.
Yeah,
We're like,
just
okay.
regular auntie.
Keep going.
And
So-
Auntie Susie. Just regular auntie.
Hey, it could be Auntie Lyris.
Hell no.
Or Auntie Edna.
Keep
Oh,
going.
that would be interesting, guys.
But this article didn't per se say how they'll check the virginity
how else do you
of the
check?
girl, but in the old times, I've read a couple of times, it used to be the 2-finger method where they check for the hymen.
Wow, Lyris, your face.
I'm
Lyris's
sorry.
face. I wish we
Because
had a
the
video of
hymen
it.
is usually...
I know, but just because it's broken doesn't... People break their hand.
Exactly.
Okay, but anyways, okay, just keep going.
But there used to be the cases that the hymen is broken, sometimes with strenuous activities, people that do
Yeah,
a
that's
lot of
exactly what I'm saying.
horse
So,
riding.
Sports.
Or some people actually born with that hymen. In that situation, some people used to be unfortunate, but I've read that sometimes in those situations they will say that it's a hymen, but there isn't.
Oh, they would
I
lie?
don't know how that was done though, because we didn't live at that time. But if someone knows,
So
I'll
this is
take
a
the
lot of
information.
speculation.
Yeah.
guys.
So we have. Is this all about? I just want to make sure that before I hit on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
This
is
is,
like
and
we're
then
done,
one
right?
other method that they also used was that you guys, they would be the new
Or
husband
sometimes-
and wife. Sometimes the aunt would observe them when they're having their first time.
So
She would look at them to make.
I don't know if I can say this. So P. ... in real life.
PORN. That's what she said.
I thought
That's
that-
literally what that
actually
is.
when we were talking about comments, Winnie Fashionista girl, we had the conversation, and I think this is with Linda. It was with Linda when we were having the conversation off of Instagram, and I was like, actually, yeah, that is
Literally what that is.
pretty. You're watching that kind of movie. That's X-rated.
So okay,
It's an X-rated
so
movie the aunt has to
my
look at.
thing is, I mean,
Oh wait, guys, I have one more thing to say. There was dang. Did it just skip my mind?
No way.
okay, we'll be
I
back.
can't believe you.
Anyways, back to the center of attention. Just kidding. Anyways, my thing is just that I feel like we hear this. I feel like still today we hear comments about, oh, I want a virgin, or I want this. I want to know why it's my responsibility to defend the fact I'm a virgin, and why are we checking for his potency when we are checking for my virginity? Who said I don't want a man who's a virgin?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I remember what I was gonna say, guys.
Okay.
I was gonna say that. Stop. I was gonna say that I read on this. I don't remember which place per se, but when I was doing research, I read on one place that the aunt was also meant to sleep with the guy because the girl was a virgin, right? She was supposed to sleep with the guy to learn what he likes and tells the girl so she knows how to please her husband. That's what I was gonna say and I forgot.
So who's gonna please me the way I
Well,
want to? If we
I
all,
get-
if all we're doing here, I guess this is like a education boot camp on how to
Because
please.
in that time, what was important was
I know.
making the guy
Happy, exactly. This goes to a lot of topics which we will not digress.
Yeah.
But
Okay, guys, let's follow the guidelines.
that's
Let's
why
follow the guidelines.
I'm not gonna
So
digress.
we've gotten into what the culture is all about, right? So pretty much this potency test of the Banyankole people was more or less to check if women are virgins and if men are potent, to help the girl.
And
know-
may I add, the only reason why you're probably checking these guys for potency is so the woman can bear a child for him.
It's interesting you put it that way. Well, it's interesting you put it that way, but yeah, this test was also for procreation, to make sure that the guy can impregnate.
Yeah.
The
his
girl
wife.
for him to have a child. And probably if back then it wasn't a man, it's gonna be a problem.
Order. Order in court.
Sorry, I just got.
Order in
Lyrics.
court.
The conversation is the potency
Potency
test.
test.
I know, I'm just saying the thoughts and why there's a potency test.
You'll
probably.
be invited for the next episode that discusses what you're trying to talk about.
I agree with you that it was for the woman to be pregnant, but not in all cases was it that it was to be she was to be pregnant for
Well,
the
like
husband.
1%.
Wait, let's be objective.
Pay attention
Most
to the
women
conversation.
who get married also want children.
I know that.
Exactly. So this brings us. This was to ensure fertility, ensure child procreation, to make sure that the man can perform his marital duties, right? To make sure that the girl can perform her marital duties and stuff like that. Now, next question, which is what you asked earlier before we get into the other juicy part. Why do we think the aunt is the chosen one, the aunt of the bride? Why was she the chosen one to make sure that her niece's husband to be can
can I
perform?
answer? Can I answer?
This is
Yeah,
all
go ahead.
opinion
Oh,
based.
sorry, that's not like a kid. What?
Go ahead.
What? I just feel like they couldn't choose the mom because it's weird to sleep with your daughter's.
Your mother-in-law.
But the aunt is, I feel like in the African community is held with like high respect, and the relationship isn't that close. So they wanted to give someone whose voice is valued, because there's elderly, there's respect, the
True.
relationship. So I personally feel like that's why the aunt was chosen.
Lyris, what do you think?
I was thinking in the same lines as that.
I thought so too. I thought like she's safe because she wouldn't want to destroy her niece's
It depends
marriage.
on the kind of aunt, though. 'Cause, you know, we got some shady aunties out here.
Sometimes it be your own people. It be your own people, guys.
And you know what? Okay, this is bringing up a comment from Captain Boris, right? Captain Boris was like, okay, what if this aunt is not attractive to the guy?
Exactly. And I actually think that what they should have done is find like let me not calling anybody the most unattractive aunties.
Then how would they prove potency? Nothing will happen.
Exactly.
No, when the action starts, it's just a natural occurrence.
Okay, this is what I'm trying to say. Okay, this is what I'm trying to say. Okay, now we are getting excited. This is what I'm trying to say. If the woman, which it was a conversation I had, I think this came from Eugene. If the woman is not attractive, then I may likely fail the potency test.
No, you won't.
Because I'm not going to be able to. I won't be able to do the job.
This is what I encourage. Think of the end result. That woman you gotta marry.
And I honestly just feel like, in terms of men's biology, something is gonna happen. Just saying.
Wow.
Think of something fine.
No, what was it Jas said? The moment I asked, Jas said, are the women doing the same thing? If they're doing the same thing, it's fair game.
Because Boris said this is a lose-lose situation. You sleep with the aunt, it's bad. You don't sleep with the aunt, it's bad. You enjoy it with the aunt, it's bad. Like whichever, you're having guilt. Like you're having.
I don't really think they felt guilt in that time. If it's you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
if
when
it's
it's culture, you don't really feel guilt about it. It's just what you have to do, and I guess you try not to think of it in so much of a sexual way.
And that was why Donna was like, so everyone's your own. Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Because if that is your culture, you believe in it, and you don't attach so much thought and emotion,
depending on the dude.
Yeah, actually, Donna said a couple of things. I'm trying to remember. There's another comment he made in regards to this being the culture at the time. It's easier now for us to sit and look at it and be like, oh, I won't do it, or this is, but back at the time that it was being done, right? Because this culture is outdated in the way we are discussing it. They don't do it like this anymore. But I think he said something under the lines, if you are in that community and choose to live that way, then that's fine. If not, they could leave the community if it is possible. But if you accept their ways, then you have to follow what they're saying.
Think of a guy who is not from that tribe per se, and you love a girl from that tribe.
Oh my god.
I think this also, this goes into just how some places would like tell you have to convert to my religion, Catholics, or whatever. I think it's literally in the same lines as it as, are you willing, is she worth the sacrifice, I guess?
But think about it, it's a one-time deal.
It's a one-time scarring, traumatic experience.
But let's think about culture per se. It's culture. I feel right now we are attaching 21st century. We're attaching a lot.
That's
to
what
it,
I'm saying.
But at that culture was just a rite of passage. Same
you
thing
have to
as
do
was
it.
breast flattening.
I understand that, but again, the same as was culture back then. There are a lot of people who breast flatten, like you're saying, that didn't like it, and it was back then. So I'm just saying that no matter when it was, so there's always someone who's not going to like something, and so it's up to you to decide if it's worth it.
Something just popped in my head. You know, in everything you do, there's always a downside. I was thinking, because I had this conversation, someone else, Derek, he made a comment to me. He said he's American, but he was like, so are we saying that this aunt must be old because what if the auntie gets pregnant?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
He's American, so he was coming from the perspective of, so what if I impregnate, because I'm trying to show my potency, so what if I'm back in the day, he's like, did they have protection?
You know what I think? I just think the aunt was married, so it was ignored if you got pregnant after.
Or he also brought a point, or they made sure that older aunties, maybe past childbearing ages, were used. You see, the moment he asked the question, it brought more flesh to it. Because I'm like, yeah,
not
probably.
Okay,
probably to be safe back then.
I know.
I can say this right. So menopausal people are hot though. So I think Lyris is thinking of like not, but
like most of the guys would ask, it's whoever I'm to lay with, are they hot? I'm like, really?
Yeah,
It was culture, guys.
That's not the thought at that moment. And if you're thinking that way, we certainly should not be getting married.
But I think they're thinking that way because of now.
Now, yeah.
They are interpreting it to today's day. But back then, I don't think these guys were necessarily.
I'm pretty sure they were thinking that. You think your brains just changed?
Okay. Oh, actually, let's try to move on. So moving on, are the concerns of the culture back then, are they valid, even if we think it's outdated?
Okay, I do think that to some level it is valid, because in terms of how back then they thought it was all about pleasing the man. So the concern was, if she can't please the man, then he might probably bring other wives, or would just take her back to her father's house, which was just the ultimate abomination. So to them, to cut out all the wahala, we would just make sure that it's a right fit. It's almost like matchmaking in Indian culture,
Right.
where they make sure the right fit before you come together, so there's no divorce or you're not working.
Yeah.
But the way of them, like the route they took to it, because in India they match everything, personality, but this is purely in a sexual manner,
Right.
which almost makes you feel like, so that was really like, I mean a lot of guys might say, yeah, but so this is really what is important to guys, this sexual aspect and having kids to continue the family. Because why are we looking at if she can cook? Can she work farm?
Can I say something?
True.
I feel like maybe that was looked at, and this was the last rite of passage, almost like that. Like this was
I
the very
really
last
do
stone.
not-
I feel like with the way things were at that time, they would have made sure this woman can cook. This woman's good wife material, and this was just
And
probably
then
the last.
that's why-
Exactly. So this was the deal breaker. So if she can,
That's
she's
true
out
too.
with
I
all her
mean,
qualities.
I
That's
feel
true
like
too.
it's still a deal breaker in modern times.
No, I feel like in modern times now, if you can't perform as good at sex, there anybody can have sex if you want to learn.
But
Lini, like I want you to understand that back then right now, so you can teach someone. Back then it was just, you're not good, and that's it. There was no further thinking.
But divorces will still happen now because of the issue of sex.
I'm not refusing, but back then, like now, I feel like there are even ways that people can go to therapy and work on it. Back then it was just like,
The therapist will teach you how to.
yeah, they are.
I know, I'm not refusing
Sex
that part,
therapy.
but I'm just saying, let us agree that to today, this is still a big
Yes,
problem.
it is still.
And-
But I thought we were just talking about
Guys, I'm in the middle. I
I'm
wish
sorry.
you guys could see this setup. I'm in the middle, and I'm like, okay, hold on. We are going to lose our voices again. We drank a lot of lemon to be able
I
to
just
speak.
know.
We're going to lose the
I
voices
get what
again.
Lenny is saying, but I'm just taking back then. Like, so this was the ultimate test of if you are. Let me use this word like we use now, wife material.
Okay, can I
Ultimate
say
final test, which
Exactly.
I believe is an important test.
Which null and voids everything else if
Okay,
you
let
cannot
me-
do
Are
it.
you going to?
guys, can I say something? Yeah. I do host this podcast. Thank you very much. I'm going to say this, and I had this conversation with Linda on this day we did it, and I think a little bit with Winnie, and it's the same. I'm going to say it now. I think checking potency is important because
I think that's not what I said. I was talking about the
let me
virginity
finish,
part,
guys.
not the-
Let
Guys,
the host talk.
guys,
Let the
guys.
host talk.
Guys,
Okay.
thank you. Oh my god. Phew. Oh, the cheese. Okay, this is what I'm saying. Potency is important because back then, childbearing suddenly, if they couldn't have kids, was put solely on the woman.
And I agree with that.
So the idea of checking to see if a man can perform to impregnate his wife, his bride, I think that is very valid. Now maybe the means they used is outdated, but you understand. But I
Now
think
you don't have
even
to be a virgin.
wait, let me finish.
But it is preferred.
Oh my god, can I
Not
finish?
everyone prefers a
Oh,
virgin.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Can I
they do.
finish?
That's what they say.
All right, guys.
Can this be the next conversation?
Yes, definitely, and I'll be
This
back.
will be the next topic. Okay, guys, let's take a pause. I think people are confused. My point is missing.
Oh,
but
sorry.
what I'm saying, or what I was trying to say, is potency is important. When it comes to virginity, on the other hand,
That's what I was talking
right?
about.
When it comes to virginity, checking if a woman is a virgin or not has nothing to do with her bearing a child.
That's what I was saying.
But the point, I don't think the point at that time was childbearing. I feel like it was equality. Maybe how pure, how good.
Oh yeah,
how kept
Exactly.
So
she
the
is.
intent is, we are trying to say the
Maybe
question.
that was the intent.
Yeah, no, wait. I'm saying that the question we are answering is how can these are the concerns of the culture valid even if the practice is outdated? So I have agreed that
Yeah.
their intent is right, but now that's what I was talking about, the outdatedness of it.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Now when you go to the doctor, they to go and check if you are reproductively okay, that is what they were checking. So that's tick. Even now you do it. But now do the doctors at the hospital check for virginity to tick that you can have a child? No. But back then, that was the tool they were using to check if you could have a kid. So that's what I'm saying. It's outdated.
And may
but
I add,
the idea of it,
if
was
you
right.
fail that test, you probably will not get
No,
married
Get
again.
married.
but okay,
Yeah.
this is what I'm saying. The guy's potency test
Mm-hmm.
was for potency, virility, childbearing, all of that.
Right.
We agree with
The
that.
virginity test, I don't think per se was linked to your ability to have a kid.
No, that's not what we're talking about, and that is
No.
what I'm saying is the
She's
problem
just trying
with
to
that.
add to what I said, that I was comparing it like 50-50.
Oh,
like,
no.
for the female, it's
Yeah.
for childbearing, for
Yeah.
the male, it's
I
childbearing.
don't
She's saying
feel
no.
like-
They think it was just for the purity of it.
Yeah.
That are
Which
you worthy?
I want to know why you think that. You think all the men, I mean, the men weren't checked for virginity, but you think they were virgins? Who
No.
are you sleeping
Exactly,
with?
because
But they couldn't check.
Exactly. So my thing is, if you can sleep with other people, then you might as well be able to accept a woman who is not a virgin. Who are you sleeping with?
In today's terms, but back in the culture, which is what Lini is saying,
women
they
should be
did-
pure
yes,
and men should be experienced.
you need to understand
with
these guys.
which women, I'm
What,
not sure.
what the hell is even pure? That's what pisses me off. What the hell is pure?
Virgin.
Bro,
I love Lini's face. I love Lini's face. Guys, we've argued onto, not argued, but we're discussing onto all our equipments are turned off. Let's try to log in again. No, what we are saying is, what I'm trying to say is that their intent is right. Their methods were outdated, but still, lyrics in this age and time, Lini and I are saying it's that it is still valid. It's
and I
important
haven't
to
said
know.
no. And
You see,
I'm
these
just
things
and
are
I'm
still
just saying
important.
how wrong it is back then and now.
Am I going? Can I ask a question? And this is to everyone.
I don't think it's wrong.
Would you want? It's obviously will not be proven with this method. Would you want your husband's potency? When I say potency at this point in modern age,
I agree
I'm
with the
saying
potency
his ability
test.
to bear children. Is that something that should be checked? prior
Yes,
to
yes,
marriage?
should be checked.
It should be.
Yes.
So, do you think someone should be offended if your wife is like, "Hey, let's go check if you can make babies.
No.
I can carry babies."
No.
No, that I think we should actually do that.
I think, and I also think that another thing that should be done is checking for STDs when you get into a serious relationship. I'm not sure we don't do this. It's nothing to be ashamed of. I just don't know where you've been. Period.
Yeah, no, because when we spoke, Linda was saying she doesn't understand the purpose of checking the virginity for women, but you already clarified.
I feel
Back
like that's
then,
why.
it was checked to see if this person is okay to be married,
I
because
think-
that was the only way they could check it at the time. They didn't have any other means. Now they have other means of checking. That's why there's not a lot of emphasis put on it. But back in the day, they didn't have any other way to check it.
Can I say something to that?
That's why they did
I
it.
don't think that that's the only way you can check it. I just think back then women were just put to the standard of you're supposed to be a virgin, and I believe there had to be reasons given for you to rationalize that what you're doing is right, because there are many other ways for you to check that somebody can be a wife.
Okay, this is what
Yeah,
I'm
there
saying.
is, but
there are so many ways, but back then they were
Purity.
interested in sexual purity, because back then
was
sex
held in
was
high
a
regard.
was held in a bigger regard compared to how we look at it now. That's what we are trying to say.
That's true.
Back then, you shouldn't be having sex. You should be abstaining. So that's why it was a big deal, and that's why they were checking
There
it.
is.
But now, people don't care. So that's why it's not a big deal. Nobody cares. Or what?
I think we need to trying to say something for.
or you know.
Thank you. But I was also going to tell her, did you know that I think part of the culture too was when these girls reach 8, there's the fattening process. So they need
Oh,
to,
yeah.
because women
For the
that
Banyankole
were
people,
plump, curvy,
Were seen as pretty.
high value. So apparently there was a fattening process. They drink a lot of milk, eating a lot of all of this stuff to be plump, and then when they get, I think, to when they take their periods or when they could bear children, they start discouraging them from sex, telling them why it's bad till they're married. So I feel like their whole lives were dedicated to being wives.
Yeah, and their whole.
Thank you. Okay, I'll just.
But that's what lyrics has been saying.
That's what
the
I'm
point.
saying. That is the point.
Yeah, but what we are saying is that was their mission. That is
I know.
their culture. You
And
understand? So at the
I'm not
time-
denying that. It doesn't
Right.
make it 100% right.
No, but it's
No.
how they choose to
It's
live.
I know.
culture.
Yeah, it's culture.
Culture doesn't
I just feel like y'all, but like I get
That's
what
why
you
Don
guys
Dada
are
said
saying.
that, right?
No,
if you're there and that's the culture, you're
I
going to
get
do it.
But I'm just saying, not every culture is right. Not every tradition you make is right.
But it was coming from a place of good
No,
intent,
and
the
that's why I
held
say I get
moral
it.
beliefs
And
at
that's
the
why I said
time.
I get it, but I'm like, it doesn't necessarily make it all the way right. That's just all I said.
That, I think that the practices were not right, but I think what they were trying to do was right. And back then, it's not like they had hospitals to go and
check
do
policy.
these things. They were, you understand? So when you abstain, then we are sure that you don't have.
I agree with you guys. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
When you don't have any sexual relations, I'm pretty sure you are healthy. But back then they didn't have hospitals to check it. So now, guys, what we are saying is these concerns are valid, right?
Yes.
The practices are outdated, but we think even now, sexual responsibility is important. We can be casual about sex, but it is important.
Can we have like another topic talking about sexual responsibility? Because I will be more than happy.
Yes,
to be
and
in
now
that episode.
let's move to the next question, or probably final. I want to ask, how can these concerns be addressed today, and how can it be more practical? Lyris.
Like I said, first of all, if I get into a serious relationship with anybody, we're getting STD tested. Don't be offended.
Sister, you said info.
Yeah, if I decide to.
Okay. Please continue.
All I'm just saying is, it shouldn't be something that people get weird about. It should be normalized. Because honestly, like, there's some things that guys wouldn't, like, guys carry, like, they call it, like, silent STDs, that when you sleep with a girl, her body's going to react to it, but you are just like a silent carrier. To me, we should all go and get tested. And again, if you I don't want to say this, but if somebody is cheating, just don't marry somebody without getting tested, because you still don't know where they have been. Get tested again. That's going to tell me if you're being someone you're not supposed to be.
Okay. Round of applause. Thank you, Lyris, for being on this podcast.
And I just feel like people should go through, I feel like marriage counseling was a good idea. Maybe like honestly,
no, I'm not refusing. This conversation is just taking a different
I feel like
turn.
it's a really good idea too.
This is not what okay, guys, you see we said we brought Lyris like blindly on because we wanted her like blank reaction, and she has taken us, Lini and I, off course. Actually, this is not how we plan for it to go. Now we're talking about sexual responsibilities.
No, let's go sexual. You guys asked me how we can other ways of doing it.
How is it that this potency thing that we talked about can be made more practical? That means these same people, right, living now, how can they
just do
this
tests?
thing?
Just go do tests, go to hospital, get a potency test. Like I said, get STD tested, definitely.
Yo, guys, get your chlamydia checked.
I think it's very important. You hear these stories about this guy? Anyways, but I think the virginity thing should not be checked,
because I just feel like
it's a very big invasion. Not that checking your potency is not personal, but like,
okay, all right, Lini, what do you think?
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Co-host.
I think since we're talking,
I think this was the Lyris and others show.
Definitely. You know, when I get on here, it's about to be real.
Okay, Lini. Yeah.
Since we're talking about potency,
right?
Potency is the same thing now. Like, you remember in the old times when people are not having kids and it's only being blamed on the woman because she's the physical person who carries the baby, so you just believed it's her. For potency too, I like how even in the olden times, a certain culture acknowledged the fact that a guy has a responsibility to play.
I applaud that. Yeah.
So,
Banyankole people, I like that part. Because they knew, like, okay, the guy has a role to play.
And I feel like most people do it right now. It's the same thing as there's a gene test, there's a SC test, like they said. The potency test, I'm just calling it that way because that's how I'm calling it, should be checked. The man's ability to have a child.
And I also think a woman's to be checked as well.
A woman's should be checked as well.
Right.
This is eliminating all the problems that could come up. So I feel like this culture has been modernized because there is now a way to check it that is maybe not so for other people.
Right.
It's more accepting to other people.
Right.
So I feel like we've already adapted the culture. We've already accepted it and modernized it.
We just aren't putting it into much practice. we have the means, but I don't think a lot of people. Lini, just be honest. What couples do you really hear say, "Oh yeah, we're just going to go check our potency"?
Well, they don't do it unless they start having difficulties.
Exactly.
Having
which I
babies,
feel like
then
you should
that's
check
when they do
before,
it.
because you're married for what, 5 years now? What you want me to go
That's
start
true.
all over?
I would say they should check before, and most guys failed to understand this when this was put on social media. Like when they put virginity and potency, they're like, okay, well, equal is being checked. No, the equivalent of male potency is not checking a woman's virginity. Check a woman's reproductive system the same way you would check a man's reproductive system. That is equal, but not virginity.
But you cannot,
a woman's
how would
virginity
you-
does not say she's going to have children or not.
It's hard to kind of check if a man's a virgin though.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. They are not equivalent. You understand? But checking potency for
And
both
some of the
sexes
guys
is
also
equivalent.
brought up that thing that is not equivalent. Why am I having to sleep with your aunt and you don't have to sleep with my uncle?
True. A lot of them also brought that up. So that's what I'm saying.
Why doesn't your uncle check too?
Exactly.
If
If you're a virgin,
if you can please me,
you get what I'm saying. But so that in a sense too, it's a violation to
the
the masculinity. Yeah, you are also violating their own human right?
That's true.
Because he has to have sex with somebody that maybe, like most of them said, maybe they don't like. Just like when Eugene was
But
like,
because
what
they-
if it's an aunt and he feels weird about it?
Talking about what Lini said, I'm like, why don't we get an uncle? They want her to be a virgin, so why would they get an uncle to sleep with her?
And that's why we are saying there's double standards.
okay,
Exactly.
And then if I'm not a virgin, your uncle just slept with me.
Exactly. And then if
Exactly why it's not
if
done.
I can't perform a particular way, your aunt, because I told Lini, what if the aunt comes out, maybe she doesn't like this boy?
Because how do you know what the girl likes?
Wait, and
Or
then
what
that's
the boy
even going
likes?
far. What if the aunt doesn't like this guy and just comes out and say, well, he didn't pass? Have we thought about guys that when this aunt slept with them, they came out to say these guys are not ripe for
They
marriage?
could probably
They
never
can't.
get married.
They probably will never be able to get married because of the stigma.
Yep.
So sometimes we women, we just say, oh, the guys, they should check the potency. But how they checked also, have you thought of guys that did not fall within that line of, oh, they passed? That means they are damaged goods. The same thing like the girls. If they checked and the person who checked didn't check right, something was wrong. Maybe your hymen broke off a long time ago for reasons other than sex. They say, well, she's not a virgin anymore. That girl is damaged goods. So when we are talking about potency, it has nothing to do with the sexuality of somebody, because you have another guy who is also great in bed but can't father children. You see, so that method really didn't work. So
Because now when he can't father children, he passed the potency
he
test,
passed the
didn't he?
potency test, yeah, but now he can't father kids. So the best thing is go to the doctor in current day and time. Go to the doctor and check your reproductive health, right? Do we have any problems?
Please do.
Before
Reproductive
marriage.
virility.
I know reproductive.
I really encourage it if you all need links.
Oh my god.
Edna, can you take the mic away?
Yeah, I know. They say the troublesome ones come last. Yeah.
I mean, y'all know I'm right. Y'all should comment. Y'all know I'm right.
I think we should stick to bringing her to the Christmas episode.
yeah, and talk about the missing goats.
With all this insight, they want to leave me the word goats.
So yeah, I think this brings us to there's some of it. Yeah. Thank you, Lyrics.
If you want to know my deeper thoughts, hit me on Instagram.
So guys, hopefully we answered the questions that most of you guys had, most of us had, especially having a conversation about this topic.
And in case you had more questions, the conversation usually stays open on Instagram for up to a week after the episode is posted, so we can have more conversations about it. You can send us voice notes, you can send us emails, you can send us messages, you can DM us, you can give us whatever, because we're always open to conversation.
Yeah, and when she said voice notes, actually if you look at the show notes, you have the link there to drop a voice note, and it would probably air on the next episode or so.
Yeah.
Stands a chance
Lyrics
to
is
air.
always open for conversations. What is your ad on Instagram?
Lyris LIRIS_YAYA.
Yeah, there we go.
I think I would be disowned if she didn't give out that information, so you can
actually
reach her.
no, like I mean, you guys can still hit up African Teapot, and I would definitely.
Yeah,
talk to you guys.
she's a spiritual link
Oh
in
my
African
God,
Teapot.
stop.
But jokes aside, it was a great topic. Lyris, thank you for taking us through a longer route to get to us talking about just potency.
This is more than potency. It's about who you
True.
are.
So guys, like we said, checking for, in all, checking for your reproductive health
As
is
you
important.
say, virility.
Yes, virility. that outweighs checking the performance of people in bed, because that has nothing to do with them.
Which
being
is still
able to have
important. Okay,
kids.
sorry. This is
No,
conclusion.
actually,
We're-
yeah,
we're
it's still
not
important,
arguing.
but we are saying that has nothing to do with somebody bearing a child. That's just all we're saying.
I think we need to relearn what a conclusion is. I think.
Yeah, because we are concluding and opening up.
I don't conclude, so I'm just like letting them conclude.
Anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned. We are feeling much better. We'll keep feeling better, and hopefully you guys too are having a great time out there.
And of course, thank you guys for having me on African Teapot, and I'll definitely be here for more of the Stevie conversations.
Yes. So hit us up. Let us know those topics you want us to talk about. Thank you, and see you all next time.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, and make sure to join us for our next episode.
Follow African Teapot on both Instagram and Facebook for daily inspiration and motivation.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, African Teapot Podcast.